Hi, Jared Petty here for IGN, joined by
Brian Albert. Hey, everyone.
Brian. What are we looking at here?
We're playing Story.
Story?
Nope, it's Her Story. The letters are just disappearing one by one.
Okay.
It's nice and slow and
now
dramatic.
it's a Tory, British conservative. Okay.
All right.
And so Her Story, and this is the review commentary. You have just finished this game. What is Her Story, Brian?
This is Her Story, Jared.
Linux?
Right here. No, this is not Linux.
Oh, okay.
Let me just give you a... If you go buy the game on like iOS or I think it's on Android maybe or on Steam, the description is you are looking at these FMV videos. We'll show you some of them.
Okay.
Of a woman who's talking to the police. Her husband has been murdered and she's a suspect. And you are here in this police database as a guest, which is very...
Why are you not policeman Logan?
Yeah, exactly, right?
Okay.
So you can come in here and do the README, and it's like, here's the system we use to blah, blah, blah. It doesn't really matter. And this one says, hey, like, I got you access to these videos. Some of them are kind of gone, but I got you the ones that weren't destroyed. Look through these and take your time.
Okay, so right there, in a kind of intriguing mystery. Who are you? And do you see there's kind of do you see the reflection?
Exactly,
there?
and that comes into play even more. But yeah, you can sort of see a reflection of your character.
Yeah.
And it... we're not going to talk about that much more right now.
We don't want to spoil that.
You can turn off this anti-glare thing. Don't do that.
No.
Don't do that. That's a whole part of the game.
Absolutely. So you are here in a database, and the gameplay is... What did you just do?
I just searched. The gameplay is essentially a search engine.
Okay.
They give you your first search term for free. Murder.
Oh, okay. Well, that's
Murder.
intriguing right there.
It is right there.
And no spoilers because it's already in the game description. You are here investigating Murder Most Foul.
Correct. You don't know why you're investigating or who you are, and you do know that you are like years after this investigation took place.
Right, because there's mention of the Y2K bug and everything.
Exactly.
Which is maybe my favorite thing in this game.
So here's one of the videos. You click play, and this is the actress. She's in every video.
Right, she is the game.
Yep,
this
is the
the
game.
person you interface with in the game is this lady, single actress. What did you think of her performance, Brian?
I really liked her performance. It is, for reasons that you need to play the game to understand. She's very good and very convincing. She does like a sort of calm, shy, kind of nervous character, and later on she gets a little more outgoing. She's playing the guitar in one of them, singing these kind of dreadful songs.
Okay.
She goes back and forth between a bunch of different kind of like personas and attitudes, and I think she nails them all. And they're a little weird and hammy.
Yeah.
Where thematically appropriate.
Thematically appropriate, that works. Yeah, and
Yes.
these clips are supposed to have happened on different dates, right?
Yeah, you got the timestamp here. July 3rd. That's written weirdly because England.
Right, it's England because
Yeah.
England. Thanks, England.
Come
All right,
on,
so,
England.
So here we have this lady, and what we have is a bunch of video clips that you search for. So this is a full motion video game. Brian, have you played old FMV games?
I played a few games that had FMV in them. There was a Star Wars game, and I think some of the Command and Conquer games had FMV.
They did.
But I did not play a game that is like, hey, this is FMV at the core.
So no Sewer Shark, no Phantasmagoria, no Sherlock Holmes Consulting Detective, or any of that. Okay.
I've heard you talk about them because you're like a video game historian, but I've not played them.
Okay, well they're all universally terrible. That's the really the common factor in FMV games up to this point. Does this break that mold?
I would say so. I mean, I had a great... I'm going to go out there and spoilers, 8.5.
8.5?
Gave this game an 8.5.
Great 0.5.
I think this game is great.
Okay.
It doesn't feel... like, I heard a lot of the old FMV complaints, and this just doesn't play like those games. It also doesn't have, like, weird scenarios where actors have to try to act out something that's unbelievable. Like, this is a weird story, but, like, it could happen. It's just a woman being interrogated by the police.
Yeah.
It's not like people in, like... crappy spacesuits walking around and bleep-blooping at each other.
No, and you don't have to play for all contingencies here because you're searching this out of order. Everybody's going to play through this game in kind of a different way.
Exactly.
And the clips work because of that.
So let's talk a little bit about the main mechanic, which I have one problem with, but I mostly like.
Okay.
So all these videos are captioned. So she said weapon in one of those videos that we looked at. So I typed in weapon, and this video came up.
Okay.
And so this whole time I'm playing, I'm taking these ridiculous scribbly notes.
Okay, are you doing this like in a notebook off to the side?
I have like 12 pages in a massive notebook of things she said, ways she responded. I have like, at the beginning of the play, they have like the list of all the characters and their occupation.
Yeah.
I have like one of those. I kind of went nuts with this, and I have notes that don't make any sense anymore. But this it's such a simple mechanic. Everyone knows how to use a search engine.
Yeah.
So husband, her husband.
All right, you're
was
searching
murdered.
for husband because she said something about her husband.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
So you're like, okay, and each, yeah.
And a lot of times you follow these through with your own conclusions. You're like, well, I think because of this reason she did murder him, or I think she didn't. But sometimes the trail I was on kind of went cold, and I was like, well, this disproves this, or she said this, but there's a reason she said that. And so I just kind of got stuck, and I typed in, people say were, right?
Yeah.
That's just a thing you say sometimes. And, there's progress, right?
So you just type in random words sometimes when you get
if I got stuck, and then I got a new lead that was legitimate and followed it.
Well, that's a common criticism of some adventure games. Is sometimes you get stuck and you just start pixel hunting. Was this sort of the equivalent of that?
Yeah, and
as
I don't
Sparklet?
want to make it sound like I did that all the time. I did that a handful of times, but
Okay.
they were important. Like I felt like I was failing, and they helped me in, which is nice because I couldn't have finished the game without that. But it kind of made it feel like some of my progress was unearned.
Okay. However, that criticism aside, did you still feel like a detective when you were playing the game?
I did, and it actually had me questioning. We don't need to go too deep into this, but like, I forget what it's called, but there's this sort of idea you can have of if someone is on trial for something, they must have done something wrong.
Uh-huh.
And I had to fight that bias because I was immediately like, oh, she looks away when she says that name. She must know something. But like maybe she was just looking away.
Or maybe,
right?
but maybe not, because there is something to the visual cues sometimes.
Exactly. It's just there's no correct answer to what you think in this game.
Yeah.
I sat down for an hour with another editor here who played the game, and we compared our notes, and we had totally different, totally valid, justified reasons for thinking different
Right,
things.
and those things you thought, they're based on facts. I mean, you find plenty of facts out. It's not a Sopranos ending where it just fades to black. But
Exactly.
your interpretations of what those facts meant after you'd seen everything.
Yeah, and I play a lot of video games, and most of the stories in them don't hold up to that kind of scrutiny.
Yeah.
Or they're not necessarily bad, but they're just like very straightforward, and that's fine. But this game's doing something different and succeeding.
All right, excellent. So you gave it an 8.5.
Yep.
That's a great score on IGN. You've talked about the interface. You talked about what stood out there. You talked about enjoying the acting. Anything else that contributed to that interpretation?
I just like that there are sort of two separate mysteries. The mystery of this woman and what she may or may not have done with her husband. The mystery of who is this character in here. And those things sort of converge.
Yeah, in a really neat way.
In a neat way, and I'm not going to talk about that.
No, we don't want to spoil anything. If you get stuck, by the way, there are cheats. You can
Don't. Jared, your job is wikis. Your job is to ruin games.
It is. My job is to ruin games.
Don't
But
ruin
if you
this.
get stuck, we're going to be putting some cheats up for this thing to help out. So,
All right.
because it is possible to get stuck. But okay, so that's her story, and you were very, very happy with it. It sounds like.
Absolutely. I try not to be hyperbolic when I write, but I said in my review that I don't think this game is like anything I've played, and I don't feel like I'm overstepping any bounds there. I'm trying to think of anything that was like this, and I can't. Like it, and it's not just good because it's novel. It's good because it's novel and good.
Cool.
So
somebody,
play this game.
Somebody made a good FMV game. That's amazing, right
Yes.
there. Okay, so Brian, if people want to know more about her story, or they want to know more about your story, where should they look?
Jared, they should stay right here on IGN.